Hello and welcome to another edition of the Ultra Confusion Hangout. I am your host, Charlie, and I'm joined once again by the prolific commenter himself, Zelius.
Yeah, what's up? And now I can say the man of one or two reviews.
Yay, Zelius! Only got like 7 more reviews to write.
It only took you like a year to get me to write one review. I got some slack.
No slack. No slack.
Count me out.
Unless you start on your own time going to like Comic-Con conventions in the surrounding area and promoting Ultra Confusion, you have no slack. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I hope you enjoy doing the podcast by yourself next week.
Why you're gonna go? You're gonna go represent us at a convention?
Well, this is me representing us right here every Thursday night at 7 o'clock my time.
Uh-huh.
The QED, I win. All right, moving on.
Anyways, okay. So speaking of conventions, let's get right into it, shall we? I got an email on
Oh,
Wednesday and informed me that Ultra Confusion has a fan table at DragonCon. That's both exciting and beyond stressful for me. The reason why it's beyond stressful for me is because I told Jesse that it didn't look like we're going to have a fan table, so go have fun with your weekend. Now it's just me.
so is he like not available because you told him that? You
Yeah.
already made plans and stuff?
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, and now, I mean, even if we try to pull them in now, it's $130 for a 4-day pass.
Wait, okay, so look at this straight. Even though you have a fan table, you still have to pay for a 4-day pass.
Correct, because we're not presenting anything.
Okay, I can see that at least. Still, that's harsh.
Oh, I agree. But I knew that going in with the fan table. So
Right on.
anyways, for you individuals who are going to be in the Atlanta area for DragonCon or whatever, and you have a pass or you're willing to fork over, I think it's like 30 or 40 bucks.
Not this weekend?
That's this weekend.
Sorry, yo, not a chance in hell I can make it down.
Yeah.
Like, if it was a month's warning for something at Dragon Con, there might actually be a small chance.
Well,
But not
Julius,
a
the
weekend.
reason why I'm freaking out is that they gave me the information about the fan table 2 days before the convention starts.
You know what that probably means, in all honesty? Somebody else dropped out. They're like, oh, we need somebody else's fan table.
There's over 20 individuals on that email distribution list about fan tables. So they waited till the last gosh. I think what they were trying
Wow,
to do
that's a lot.
was they were trying to get as much space as possible to put as many fan tables in there. So they just had this running list, and they basically said, okay, well, we definitely can't put any more than 20 tables in. So top 20, there goes the email.
Do you know, like, did they tell you, like, already, like, where your physical location is, or do you find that out when you get there?
Okay, so I know I'm on the second floor of the Hilton, and other than that, I do not know. I would think that it's probably alphabetical order would probably be the easiest thing to do, but I don't know. It might be. I think we also had to put down what type of fan table we are. So maybe we're going to be grouped with a similar fan tables. I really don't know.
Are you bringing the Ouya again, or is that even, like, a possibility there?
Yes, I'm going to be bringing the Ouya, the TV, this laptop, buttons. We have a Ultra Confusion fan who is making us an Ultra Confusion sign, as I have no money to purchase the big banner I was hoping to purchase.
Nice.
And the other thing is,
Ask who this fan is, or is it like an anonymous fan?
you know who she is.
Oh, hey, Alt Demon,
No, it's not all demon.
Julie.
No, it's your sister from another mother.
Oh, hey, Alex.
Mhm.
Jeez, I just have to keep it going on the list.
Yeah.
So many choices. When our fan base, when it grows, it's hard to keep track of who's doing what.
I know. Okay, so if you're going to DragonCon, come check us out. We'll be on the second floor of the Hilton. Here is the well, actually, I'll be on the second floor of the Hilton. Here is the time that I will be at the table. I will be there the majority of the following times. Starting tomorrow, Friday, I will be at the Ultra Confusion table from bare minimum 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday, I will be there from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Mhm.
Sunday, I'll be there from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Wait, did I just say Sunday? Yeah,
Yes.
Sunday. Okay, and Monday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Okay. Real quick, if there's one thing I've learned in education,
Hmm.
you know it's going to get the attraction at your booth. One thing I can think of.
I'm not putting a booth babe in my booth.
No, the baby.
My wife would
You
absolutely
bring a
kill me.
baby around, and oh my gosh, everybody freaking, well, all the chicks, they all flock. It's like a magnet, yo. It doesn't matter with the whole single married thing. It just matters if there's a baby there, and they're like every female will just flock to the booth.
There's
It's
something called con crud that I am not introducing to my son.
well, I'm thinking like second floor Hilton, so you give a little like separation from the con crud
No,
up to the second floor.
no. All the fan tables are in basically the thorough way of where everyone's going to be walking. That's why they put the fan tables there. They're not going to put them off in no man's land.
I'm trying to help you out, yo. Come on, work with me here.
No,
Maybe we can have like a big picture of like Chuck's head in the background.
no.
Okay, moving on. Okay, I'm out of ideas. Sorry, yo. I tried.
All right. Anyway, so if you're at DragonCon, come check us out. I will definitely be manning the table the entire time. Yeah. Okay. So some other news. Let's go down real quick here. I beat Witcher 2 today.
You what?
I beat The Witcher 2.
How many hours did you play the game?
22.
42.
22.
Oh, okay, 22. Okay. Oh, I'm about 5 hours into the game, so okay. How many acts are there? 3, 4? Or let's rephrase. How many major towns did you have to go to?
Okay, so 1, and then there was 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, the third one, it's really 2 towns. It's
Okay.
basically a town over here and there's a town over there.
Gotcha.
But yeah, 4 acts, let's say.
Excellent.
Plus,
So, what do you
plus
think?
the prologue.
So, what's your opinion of The Witcher 2?
I really liked it. I think the one single problem I had with The Witcher 2 was collision detecting. Like it would sometimes stop me on a dime in the random ass places. Like there was a small pebble that caught my foot and I couldn't get around it, so I literally had to like walk backwards and then walk forwards to go.
It's not like Skyrim where you can go like anywhere you want.
Right.
Because I like sometimes like the paths. It's like, wait, the path, it should go that way, but it really goes that way. So I have to go all the way back around to get back to where I thought I was originally going. Because you can't go like freelance in that game.
Yep.
Um,
We can't go too freelance.
True. Let me ask you a question. What difficulty did you play the game on?
Normal?
Did you find the game difficult at all?
Yes.
Yeah, I've talked in the past about first-person games like Mass Effect and KOTOR, where I'm like, I want this game hard. Give me a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Witcher's one of those games I'm gonna play on easy, man. That game's hard. Like The Witcher, like it is not like for the weak, man. That game, it gives you a freaking challenge. And it's a fun challenge.
Yep.
But you have to have your wits about you. Like you can't just run into the Witcher. I'm just gonna slash my sword at you and nothing else. Yeah, not a good idea.
No. The other thing, the other bit of advice I'd give anybody who's going to play The Witcher 2 in the future, there is a huge fucking difference between swinging a steel sword and a silver sword when dealing with specific enemies.
Yes, there is.
Because holy crap, I was like, dude, I've got like the strongest silver sword in the game. What the ever living hell? I am getting massacred. And then I looked at the damage log, and for some reason, when I went into battle, oh fuck, what's his name? Geralt? Or no?
Yeah, Gerald.
Yeah, that fucker pulled out the steel instead of the silver. That's why these freaking monsters were just poning me.
And that is one thing I will say. I think Witcher 1, the first one, does a very good job, like in the tutorial. I remember the which one having quite the tutorial that Witcher 2 did,
Hmm.
but I remember the Witcher one did a very, I thought, good job of explaining very clearly steel sword,
Hmm.
like supernatural creatures.
Hmm.
Normal sword, normal human beings.
Hmm.
And I thought The Witcher 2, like, I remember I mentioned it, but it didn't really make it very clear. We're like, that's literally the difference between life and death. So I think that's the one place where The Witcher 2 just kind of, which is funny, kind of, too. Witcher 2 had a pretty, I thought, lengthy tutorial,
Hmm.
but they kind of skipped over the whole difference between the steel and silver sword, which obviously makes, as you know, a huge difference in the game. But I
Right.
thought it didn't do the best job it could have done of really explaining the difference between the two swords.
I totally agree. The other thing I had, maybe it was just my game, but I had some weird issues with certain items never dropping. Like I would get schematics to build a item, and I'm at the end of the game. I have not sold any of my supplies that I picked up, and I'm still like 3 necker teeth short or something like that. And I'm like, how the fuck am I? They've been there through the entire game, and yet I've not found enough to make this sword. Which by the time I was at the end of the game and I was looking at it, I yeah, I already had a sword that was much more powerful than that.
So let me ask you this, well, two things. One is first off in single player games, at least when it comes to the whole like, crafting realm.
Hmm.
Usually in single player games, I'm gonna be honest, I don't give a crap about crafting.
Right.
I don't know what it is. Like maybe it's just because like my first foray into crafting was really like World of Warcraft.
Hmm.
So like MMOs, you're investing hundreds of millions of hours into that game where crafting I'd say matters more.
Hmm.
Versus a single player game where I know it's 20 to probably 40 hours tops.
Hmm.
I don't know. The crafting just doesn't matter to me as much. I don't know. The second thing is, I totally forgot. No, the second thing it had to do with something that you were playing. Um, wow, yeah, I totally forgot what my second thing was.
Wow.
I know. It must have been pretty awesome. It was
I have
something to do with.
no,
Uh,
go for it.
no, I'll probably think of it like 3 hours later. Like I'll be sleeping. I'll wake up and be like, Eureka! I remember, Charlie. And I'll call you about 2 a.m.
So I will fully admit that I really didn't craft all that much. The only thing that I really crafted throughout the game was the potions. I didn't.
Potions are important in Witcher,
Oh
yes.
God, yes. Oh yeah. Uh, I really didn't create any items. I mean, I did. I made a couple traps, but the ironic thing is, I never used a single trap in the game
Hmm. I
because I didn't. I'd rather do that spell that holds someone in place than place a trap. Now that did not stop me from seeing traps on the ground and trying to get the enemies to run over them so they take a little bit of damage.
I was personally a big fan of bombs.
Yeah, I had like the hardest time figuring out. One of the quests is like you have to blow up these nests, and so I've got what I consider with the name of bomb to be something that can blow up the nests. But apparently it has to be a specific type of bomb that you've got to walk up to and click on it, and then they place the bomb, and you got to run the fuck away because the nest is going to blow up. But it does not make it clear at all that you have to do that. So I'm here
Okay,
chucking bombs at the damn thing until I'm out of bombs, and it's very depressing.
and that's where F5 is very useful at times in the game.
Yes.
Okay, remember my second thing.
Mm-hmm.
What path for leveling up did you follow in the game, as far as like your specialization?
Uh, I did all the Witcher stuff, and then I basically split half and half the swordsman and the spellcaster one.
I think it's funny because there's also the alchemy path.
Yeah, I had no interest in that whatsoever.
I highly doubt, like, most people who play the game, that's what they're going to go with. They're going to go probably the magic path and or the swords path.
Right.
I doubt very few people actually went the alchemy path in the game.
There's to me there was no like ooh. Actually, you know what? I tell you, I take that back. I did double up on the one part, I think you've got to go like too deep into the alchemy path to get make your potions last like a shit ton more time. That I did, but that was it.
Yeah,
That was the only thing I touched because I wanted my potions to last longer.
yeah,
But that was it.
I heard you. It just seemed like, yeah, I just don't see many people going deep in the alchemy path versus the other two paths.
Well, I mean, if it was a multiplayer game, it would make sense. But it's a single player game.
Exactly.
You can't play, in my opinion, it's beyond bizarre for you to play a support character as a lead character.
Yeah, you're right though. You're right. I think you have it. You hit it though. The alchemy path would be great if it was multiplayer. But ironically, in the podcast we've talked a number of times about every game has multiplayer. You have to have it. And a game that would actually benefit from a class standpoint from multiplayer doesn't really have that multiplayer built into it. Yeah. Never thought of that until you said that, but yeah, it's just kind of funny how that works out.
I do also want to point out that the entire Witcher series is created by a team that lives outside the United States. So they are much more free spirited and open minded with certain parts of their game. Um, the Witcher and The Witcher 2 are never, ever supposed to be played by children.
And this goes back to, like we've harped on a number of times, it's like, oh no, there's titties in the video games. Well, guess what? You don't want sex in your video games? Maybe you should investigate the video game before you play it, or you give it to your kids to play.
It's
shocking.
There's this fun thing. I know that it's just like bizarre and weird, and it probably makes no sense to anybody, but there's this thing called the Electronic Software Rating Board that actually puts ratings that you can actually see on the games. And they've gotten to the point now that now in 2013, not only do they put the rating on there, but they'll tell you a brief example of why the hell they put that rating.
Like, I imagine you're probably not going to let C4X play Witcher 2 anytime soon.
Dear God, no.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed Witcher, The Witcher 2. I kind of want to play The Witcher 1, but I'm afraid that that's just going to, like, screw with my mind, because I'll be like, but I already know this.
Honestly, I think you'll be fine playing The Witcher 1.
Okay.
I know some games, it's like, it totally builds off the first one, and there's obviously some stuff, there's some stuff that you already know, but I think for the most part, you can play Witcher 1, you'll be fine.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
All right, so talking about playing video games here, there is some exciting news for some people out there. There is going to be, well, actually, there is a new kick-started Android console that has just started to go out to the backers and will be available for retail sale at like GameStop and Best Buy by, I think, within a month's time.
Oh, yeah, too!
No, it's called GameStick. It basically, okay, this is an Ouya controller. It's no, I don't want to use. Okay, here we go. All right, let's just pretend that this is the game.
Really?
What's the matter, Zelius? You don't like my sticker?
You know how hard right now I'm trying to keep this family friendly, right? I'm desperately
okay, fine,
my willpower.
Fine. There we go. Okay. So let's say this is a game controller. It's got all the buttons or whatever. It's a rectangle controller, but in the top is a USB, not USB. It's an HDMI dongle. So like basically you pop it out. You got this. You stab it into the side of the TV. Boom. This is your console. It connects right to your controller. You can also, it's got Bluetooth technology. I think it's like Bluetooth Generation 4 or something. If another individual has a game stick controller, they can sync it up to your system. You can play up to 4 individuals. It is an Android system. It's going to run much like the Ouya. The price point is $79.99, so that's $20 less than the Ouya. The one downside to the game stick that I've heard from people is the fact that the Ouya is built basically for tinkering around, so that you could get like the the best experience that you can get for the
Yep.
Ouya, where the game stick is really just it's basically just a dashboard. Really, you don't get to see all the intricate little bells and whistles like you can on the Ouya. But my prediction, and I've looked at some of the game lists that the Game Stick says that they're going to have, and it's basically the same thing as the Ouya. They are porting a shit ton of Android games over to the Game Stick. My guess is that probably the vanilla flavor of Android, the Ouya flavor of Android, the Game Stick flavor of Android is probably a couple little toggle switches and else if statements to switch them around, but there's just enough that you can't utilize the Google Play Store on either the Ouya or the Game Stick device. But it's easy enough for developers to basically throw their game on multiple systems.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
These companies are all fine and great. My prediction, until either Amazon, Asus, or Google, probably through Asus, come out with their own actual gaming console, nobody but the 1% of gamers is going to give a shit.
Okay, at this current moment, I would agree, but there is a potential for disagreement, and that is okay. So Ouya did a phenomenal job of talking up their idea, their dream during the Kickstarter phase, but as soon as Kickstarter finished, they dropped the ball, and they have yet to pick it up. I mean, they've probably. It's one of those situations where you're trying to act dumb and you like drop something and then you like try to, pretend to reach over and pick it up, but you kick it with your foot to make it go further.
It's usually because there's like a hot woman around or something.
Yeah. I fear that GameStick's going to fall underneath the same thing because, to be honest with you, to run a successful Kickstarter campaign, it's got to be exhausting. You're basically throwing everything you've got at it, trying to make your product a success, trying to raise your money. But the problem is you cannot rest on the simple fact that you successfully funded your game. Holy shit, you cannot do that.
That's why I don't think it's till Amazon or Google or Asus, one of those companies, come out with that kind of similar console, because they're the company who's gonna push it. And then every time you go to Google.com, guess what you're going to see? Or Amazon.com, guess what you're going to see? Come play our new gaming device.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that Google's going to get into this marketplace simply because they are basically Android. And there's no real reason for them to get into the console marketplace.
They're in the tab. They're investing.
Well, right. They're in the tablet, but they're killing there. And people are. The thing is, every single time Google's is still making money off of everybody, so they're like, whatever, dude, just keep doing whatever the hell you want to. It is going to be Amazon.
One thing I think that could get Google into the gaming market is if/when Apple finally comes out with their gaming console.
Yeah.
I think if Apple actually comes out with theirs and it makes a dent in the market, then I think Google might actually care about the gaming marketplace. Only if that happens.
I agree but disagree as well. I think that when Amazon brings out their console, and if they do a direct partnership with Google, Google will not bring out their own product because there's no reason to.
Okay, I can see that.
But if Google, if Apple brings out the new console and Google feels that Amazon is not fully doing the awesomeness that Google thinks can happen, then Google will jump in.
Well, to be fair, like take, for instance, the Nexus tablet. Yep. I mean, it's really an Asus tablet. It just happens to say the Nexus on it. So it's got the same idea where, right. I could see Google partnering with, say, Amazon or Nexus or whomever.
Yep.
But I think if Apple comes out with their gaming console and somebody like Amazon or whomever's not doing something prolific, that's when you'll see Google be like, guys, let's do something.
Oh, absolutely.
I think you're right, though. If Amazon comes out and they whoop ass, then you're right. Then I could see Google being like, you know what? You guys got it. Whatever.
Shit. Google will probably... To be
As
honest with
long as
you,
there's only one catch to it.
what's that?
It has to go through the Google Marketplace, so Google's getting a catch of the proceeds. That's the one catch, I think. I think with the Amazon, depending on how Amazon does their gaming, Google wants to cut that money. That's the one catch.
I don't know how you could do
because
that.
the only reason I say that is because with the Google has recently with their APIs, they've become more restrictive in their tablets with the actual developers and what you can do with the marketplace. And they've really started to kind of lay the hammer down on what you can do with the Google Marketplace in terms of ads and how you get people to actually buy your product. And I think Google's really, it's become so ubiquitous in the marketplace where they're kind of starting to bring the hammer down and become more of a closed garden. They're not a closed garden like Apple. They're not there, but they're starting to kind of tighten things up a little where they want that piece of the pie. And I think if Amazon cuts Google out of that pie and it has to go through Amazon instead of Google, that's where Google will be like, okay, now we're doing something.
No,
I mean, what incentive does Google have to release the Android operating system to Amazon if Google's not getting a piece of the cut?
They're going to get a piece of the cut if they do a partnership.
Well, okay. I guess there's a difference between a partnership and if Google is just like, or if Amazon, I'm sorry, if Amazon is just like we're using the Android, if we're just cutting Google out of the cut. But if Amazon's like, okay, Google will cut you in, that's different. But Amazon has to cut Google in some way, otherwise Google's going to partner up probably with like a Asus or something, where obviously it all goes back to Google for the marketplace.
Well, the problem is if you're talking marketplace, there's no way for Amazon to make any money if you're going to be linking to the Google Marketplace. The only solution would be if you had some kind of identifier on the device that is purchasing this game, and then Google would have to reroute the money back to Amazon. So Google would get the money first and then have to pay Amazon. If you're going to use the Google Play Marketplace, you have to have that type of thing set up. But then again, that would still require a partnership.
Yeah, I just have a hard time believing that Google will allow themselves to be cut out of the Amazon gaming console if it becomes very popular, monetarily speaking.
Right.
But we'll see what happens. First, we got to wait for the Amazon gaming console to actually come out and see what happens. At this point, who knows?
Very true. Okay, so
either way, it's amazing what Android's doing.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I fully agree. I'm always happy to see the variety of stuff you can have Android on, and then the majority of the time, the quality that you can get with something that has Android on it.
Well, it's funny because, okay, so you have obviously of the Apple iOS devices, which it's Apple iOS. You don't deviate from that at all, right?
Right.
But then you get to the Android, operating system, depending on which version you're on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's almost like the things you can do with the Android operating system, it's almost like you can create like an entirely different operating system other than the Android stock system.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's almost like you have two different systems now. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of cool to me. And then you have, well, Windows Mobile and kind of maybe BlackBerry sort of.
Right.
But it seems like right now, as of now, it's really Android and iOS and kind of everybody else.
Well, I mean, you're still. I mean, it's the same. It's the same battle it's been waging forever. You just replace PC with Android, and it's still Microsoft versus, Microsoft versus Apple, where you've got a bunch of several different manufacturers of PCs that have Windows on it, and then you have only the Apple products with iOS on it. Though that they have now kind of, they allow you to install iOS on different devices because they changed the chipset. But for the longest time, it was if you want the Mac OS, you have to buy a Mac, and if you want the Windows operating system, well, shit, here's Here's Acer. Here's Asus. Here's
Hewlett
Dell. Here's
Packard, Gateway
Hewlett Packard.
2000.
Um, you have a shit ton of brands, Alienware, all that stuff, and now it's now moved into the mobile slash tablet marketplace, where if you want the iOS, um, you're gonna have to have an iPad, an iPod, or an iPhone. But if you want Android, you can literally have like a toaster, a tablet, a PC. Um, phone, a shit ton of phones. You got Motorola phones, you got LG phones, you've got, oh my gosh,
Samsung, Asus,
right, LG, all that shit.
everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's Google's happy right now because they've got a very popular product, and I think unless and I understand that they're trying to tighten the reins, and the reason why is that they want to keep it a good quality product. The problem is once you get a couple bad eggs in the batch, the public opinion of your product starts to deteriorate. So they're being a little bit tighter on the reins, not as tight as Apple by any stretch of the imagination, but but they've got to for business sense. They have to.
I like that. That's a good analogy. That's a good analogy. I like it.
Okay. Actually, switching right back to, since we're still in the Android console market, chit chat, whatever. I do want to say that there was some huge news that happened this week. That news was that Telltale Games, basically the company of episodic adventure games for PC and consoles and everything, has announced that not only season 1 but season 2 of The Walking Dead will be coming to the Ouya, which is a huge deal. But and you know what? I bet you because of that announcement, people will think that it's a Telltale Android gaming device. They'll have no fucking clue that you can get other games on there. Like, oh, there's going to be an Android device that could play Walking Dead. And I bet you they don't know its existence until the game actually releases later this year.
Okay, so here's what I don't get.
Yeah.
The Ouya is an Android gaming console, right?
Yes.
Are there games you can get for the Ouya that you can't get like on my tablet?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know. It just seems like confusing, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, it seems like it's Android. Whenever I get one Android device, I should, by golly, I should be able to get on another Android device.
This is breaking down to you have to have your own unique flavor of Android, otherwise you can't make any money off of your console.
But going back to, like, for instance, though, the simplicity of the iOS.
Right.
Basically, any app I get on my iPhone, guess what?
Right.
I can get on my iPad too.
Right.
Whereas Android, like, I have an Android tablet and it still confuses the hell out of me. It's like, oh, some stuff I can get on my Nexus tablet, some stuff I can't. And guess what? It doesn't tell me why. They just say, sorry, not allowed.
Right.
I'm like, that's great.
Like HBO Go. Why can't HBO Go play on a Nexus 7?
And that's one of my fears of, I'm a huge fan of the idea behind the Android ecosystem, but it's kind of stratification of the entire Android ecosystem. There's so many different players where it's sometimes like, what the hell rules apply to what, basically hardware manufacturer and their whims of what's going to put on their device versus another company. It's a little bit kind of aggravating sometimes.
Right.
And I understand why, because obviously that manufacturer wants a cut of the pie, but I still think from an end user perspective that the iOS ecosystem is easier to operate than the Android ecosystem.
Oh, absolutely.
There's obviously advantages to each ecosystem, but I think from 90% of the end user base, I would still recommend an iOS device.
Well, right. Well, if you want to boil it down, I mean, there's two different versions of an iOS device. You have the iPhone or the pod, whatever, and then you have the iPad. Now, if a game is only available on the iPad, it is beyond clearly marked in the marketplace,
Yes.
and you have one marketplace. The other thing is with so many of these different devices, yes, you've got the Google Play one for most of your like tablets and your phones, but of course when you go into console or one of these like homemade machines, chances
Now
are
you
you
have
probably
something else.
yeah you'll have something else. So there are a shit ton of games that will be appearing in the Google Play Store and then the Ouija Store and then the Game Stick Store and then the Amazon console store and whatever else. But when literally with a lot of these applications, let's just keep it simple. Let's stay to the Google Play Store.
Yep.
If you can access the Google Play Store, it does not necessarily mean you can utilize your device, and it's not clear that you can't utilize it. It cannot be on your device unless you start digging. Your best bet is probably to read the developer's notes where they say, "Oh yeah, by the way, you can't use the LG blah 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 on this one, Motorola da da da." They name like 17 different phones that it doesn't work on because of it's missing zero point 0.5 RAM that's necessary for it to run optimally and not crash your phone.
Which
yeah.
everybody's going to read, obviously.
Right. Well, exactly. And then people get pissed off like, well, it's right there in the store. Why can't I download it?
Yeah.
If you try to download it from iTunes, either on the actual device or on your computer, it clearly says, "Oh, sorry, this is an iPad game, and you're on an iPhone.
Yep.
We can't do it." With the Google Play Store, it's like, we can't do it. Well, why not?
Yeah,
we can't do it. It's magic voodoo. We don't understand anything.
It's kind of the idea of almost like the more flexibility you give to a program or a system, it's almost the more cumbersome and user-unfriendly it can become in the process.
Right. Well, I mean, it's one of those things where there is a great potential for something amazing to happen, but at the same time, because of the freedom, there's the percentage for disaster is exponentially climbing every single time you tweak something.
Well, and I see it like, for instance, at school, our student information system, which hosts like all of our student data, right?
Mm-hmm.
To say it's not user-friendly is an understatement. Like the database, to use it, to figure out how to get data out of there, it's like, oh my gosh. Now, I mean, I've been using it for 6+ years, so guess what? If there's a piece of information that an administrator wants out of the database, I can get it out of there. I can get anything out of there that they want. But it also requires a fairly high level of expertise and know-how in the program. And that learning curve is kind of like it's a very steep initial slope, that learning curve to really learn that program.
Right.
And, Android is not obviously to that level, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of that, where there's great potential to do what you want and get that information, but it's not always the easiest to do in the world.
Right. And actually, to take what you just said as an example, that's actually one of the biggest pitfalls for independent developers is that, like you said, you've got 6 years underneath your belt. So if there's something that someone needs, you can get it immediately. But if you were to throw that in front of, let's say, my sister and say, yeah, get this row in this database, go, she'd be completely lost. And unfortunately, one of the biggest flaws for any piece of software, operating system, games, books, whatever, if you tweak from the normal, because with the iOS there's not really that much flexibility. With Android, you got customization out to wazoo.
Yeah.
You personally can have something that's awesome for you because you've worked out all the kinks and you've gotten used to the weird quirks. But if you try to put it in front of someone who's never seen it before, they're going to be fucking lost. And they might just throw in the towel before they can understand how awesome it might be, because they just don't want to put that much time in, because it is a time sink. With a lot of these games, a lot of these operating systems, they tweak weird things. One of my biggest pet peeves is key binding, or lack thereof, redoing the binding of the keys, where they decide that, let's be different. Let's use IJKL as your movement, and so you're actually going to be moving your character with your right hand now, and your left is going to be doing like your quest, your spells, your adventures, whatever. So, and of course it makes sense to them because they've been programming for, like 2.5 years. The QA testers have been going at it for 80 hours a week. Yeah, they got that shit down. But if I were to throw that game in front of you, Zelius, you'd be like,
this is the worst game ever.
F this shit. I don't care how pretty it is or how awesome the story could be. You're going to end up playing a game that actually you can play and not have.
Actually, that reminds me of.
What's that?
You know what this perfectly reminds me of? I don't know if you. I can't remember the name of it now. This is probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I reviewed that MMO, and I said this is like the biggest piece of shit game ever. And then people posted on Ultra Confusion and be like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about?
Yeah. What was that?
You know what I'm talking? Like, what you're saying reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Because it was very obvious. Like, I stepped into the game, and I think as far as MMOs go, I know my way pretty well around MMOs.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this game is like the worst game ever. And the people who stepped in kind of remind me exactly of what you're saying. They're obviously people who knew, their way around the game and what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
So from their perspective, they're like, dude, how can you not know what's going on? Are you like an idiot or something? What the hell?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and I think that's a very good example of exactly what you're saying. These people knew the game, and somebody like me, an outsider, didn't make any sense to me. And, not to give myself a big head or anything, but I'm sorry, if I don't understand what's going on in the game, chances are most people aren't going to get it either.
Right.
Are you trying to find out what it was?
Yeah, I can't find it.
It's not like I have a lot of reviews to look for by me.
What? Now, yeah. See, if I was trying to do this on my laptop, I probably could pull it up really fast because at least it's got all of like 4 reviews on Ultra Confusion.
Hey, at least I'm consistent. You know what's one every like 8 months?
Like
on average, I'm reviewing.
Okay, let's think about this. If you have 4 reviews, and Ultra Confusion has been around since 2007, it's less than 1 review a year.
Okay, I try to be positive to myself, okay?
Oh my god.
Okay, I understand.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. All right, Zelius, I'm gonna let you just chat for like 5 seconds. I'll be right back.
Well, since Charlie's running away from him, I'm gonna talk a lot of shit about him. Oh, he was right here before I could hear him. So I'm trying to look up what that game is, but trying to find stuff on the website, I'm not very good at. Apparently, I am just not that. Okay, so here's the problem. I search for a name, I see podcast upon podcast upon podcast, and we did a whole lot of podcasts. So I'm not really finding it. No, it's not that game. It's not that game. I'm still looking. I'm gonna get there. Apparently, I reviewed The King's Bounty: The Legend Review. I don't remember that. Lots of Joe Abercrombie, great author. I still highly recommend reading him. For those who don't remember, he is a author. He's a sci-fi author. But the big thing with his is it's very realistic. It's very gritty. A lot of sci-fi novels, it's very like, yay, I'm the Lord and I'm the greatest person ever. Guess what? Joe Abercrombie's book, that person is probably going to die tomorrow. Not like in a not J.R.R. Tolkien, not in a George R.R. Martin type of way. Which is, that author with initials in their name.
That's true. I think to be a successful, to be a successful fantasy writer, you just got to put initials in your name somewhere.
It's like the new normalcy. Like it used to be like back in the day of like what's his name? The guy who wrote like oh hey, R.A. Salvatore, same
Yep.
idea.
Yep. Exactly.
I was the guy who wrote about Juice T. I'm like, what's his name? Oh, he has initials too.
What is it? Robert Jordan. There you go. Robert
What?
Jordan doesn't have any initials.
God rest his soul, but he died.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's a message here. Have initials in your name.
Can you live?
Wow, this got really morbid really quick.
Oh, God.
Although his follow-up author, though, seriously, follow-up author, Brandon Sanderson, wrote the Mistborn series, which I highly, highly recommend that series. Amazing work of literature. Very good stuff. Very unique atmosphere with a very unique take on the use of magic in their world. So that's a series, the Mistborn series, I would highly recommend to any fantasy genre fan.
Cool.
And, well, I mentioned Robert Jordan, or Sanderson, because he's the one who finished up the Wheel of Time series for Robert Jordan. That's the only reason I bring up his name. Anyways, moving on.
Okay, well, since we're talking about fantasy novelists, if you're going to Dragon Con, two of my two authors that I really enjoy, one is Jim Butcher. He wrote the entire, well, he continues to write the Dresden series, which I thoroughly enjoy.
What about his other series?
Yeah, that's another really awesome series.
Have you read that one too?
I've read the first, 3 books.
Is it so? Which one of his 2 series do you like better?
Okay, so it depends on what type of main character you like. Do you like a main character who can wield magic, but the majority of the world can't wield magic? Or do you want a main character who can't wield magic, but the majority of the world can wield magic?
I'm guessing Dresden series is the first one.
Yes.
I think it's the Codex series, am I right?
Yeah.
Is the second one.
Yep.
Yep. Interesting.
I didn't read a Dresden book until the very, very short-lived sci-fi series came out. And then I started reading the books, and I'm like, man, that's why the fucking show got canceled. None of it matches up.
That's what I've heard.
Oh my God. In the TV show, he's running around with a hockey stick as his magical staff. He doesn't have.
It reminds me of the guy of Ninja Turtles. I forget his name now, though.
Casey Jones.
Wow, that's pretty amazing that you know that. I'm impressed.
I love me some Ninja Turtles back in the day, man.
Fair enough.
And then in the books, he had this old school beetle that was basically pieces of other beetles because he kept getting the shit kicked out of the car by all these supernatural forces. In the TV show, he's got this pimped out Jeep.
Well, yeah.
Actually,
series. Gotta give it a little bit of flair, I guess.
Well, the one thing I did like about the TV series over the book was the representation of Bob, who is basically Dresden's teacher and helper. In the book, he's just a talking skull with a spirit trapped in it. In the TV series, he's a skull with a spirit trapped in it, but the spirit can come out and manifest as an individual.
Well, I think it's one of those almost like we need to do this for TV, so our audience can connect with it better.
Right. So, anyways, and of course, I hate to ruin this for some individuals who love the TV series. The Red Witch, or no, she's a witch. Red Vampire Bianca. Holy ballsack! She does not have a lovely time with Dresden in the books. They're at each other's throats the entire time. They can't stand each other, trying to kill each other. But in the TV series, I think it's 3 episodes in, Dresden runs to Bianca's side, and they end up having sex. Just what?
Well, it's kind of what's the series that you made me read? The Gail Carrigan series? The Parasol series.
Oh, yeah.
With, the lead actress, I forget her name, and the wolf.
Wait, what are we talking about?
I'm forgetting the lady's name. Who cares from Parasol? I'm already forgetting her name.
It's Oh my god. Um, oh shit. Hold on.
I got it too. Um, Alexia.
Yeah, Alexia.
Well, it's like Alexia and Lord Makon. It's kind of the same thing. We're like, they're kind of each other's throats, and it's this kind of like mismatched pair of
Yeah, but
characters. And obviously, we don't want to give away too much either in the books. But
yeah,
it's kind of the same idea where it's like they're at each other's throat, and then they love each other, and then they're at each other's throat, and then they love each other.
yeah, but that was like a love-hate relationship. The
Yeah.
difference is in the Dresden series, Bianca apparently is like this confidant of Harry that when shit gets tough, he hides with Bianca. In the book, the only time that they interact, Bianca's trying to kill Dresden. Dresden doesn't want to kill a vampire because he doesn't want to start a holy war. It's just it's way different. Yeah. Well, anyways,
I
by
love
the way,
you.
the Parasol series, I like it. I am on big book 6. I had to take a break though. Yep, there. Hold on, one sec. Yep, there it is, right there. Solus. Um,
This is book number 2.
is it? No, Solus is 1.
You're right. Book number 1. Yep. Hey, yeah, the binding. It says number 1.
Since we're talking about books now, I did start reading. So Kindle, the Kindle Paperwhite, and then of course the Kindle Fire and all that stuff. They now have the ability to put graphic novels on your system.
Hmm.
The Kindle Paperwhite is just a little too weird. I think the screen is slightly too small. There is the option of reading panel by panel, but depending on the size of the panel, weird shit could happen. Like if you, let's see here, if I've got something. Okay, let's say that this is one of the panels, okay?
Mhm.
And this is one of the weird,
AP?
this is one of the weird shaped panels, okay? So what you do is you have the ability of reading panel by panel. And so what could happen is you'll see like that much of the panel, and then when you hit the next one, it's the panel down here. It's not the rest of the panel. So you could be missing like half the dialogue on the on a specific panel, which could be
Important.
very important.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can see the issue with that.
yeah. So I highly recommend if you're gonna read a graphic novel on through a Kindle device, uh, get the Kindle app for your Nexus 7, an iPad, your computer, or the Kindle Fire. Don't try to do it on the Paperwhite. Definitely don't try to put it on the Kindle.
My problem is like, I want to get into comic books and shit.
Mhm.
I can't figure out where to start. You know what I mean? It's like the universe is so humongous. There's so many options where it's like I can't figure out like where I would even want to start if I were to start reading comic books or graphic novels.
There's a YouTube video for that. I cannot remember the girl's name off the top of my head. If you give me like 2 seconds, I probably could find
It's
it.
not Felicia Day, I'm assuming.
Huh? No,
It's
it's not
not
Felicia
Felicia
Day.
Day, I'm assuming.
No, but she was picked by Felicia Day to be on one of the Geek and Sundry days.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Speaking of Felicia Day, I started. I know she's only in like a couple episodes, but I started watching Supernatural on Netflix the other day.
very nice.
Have you seen that show?
No, I have not.
I'm only like 4 episodes in.
Mhm.
I
But
know
it's
she's
good?
in it at some point.
Yes, she does appear from time to time. But is it any good?
Um, well, it's created. You know who Nick G is? He's also the dude who does NCIS.
Yes.
So it's. I mean, it's episodic and kind of like NCIS, where it's like the mystery of the week type of show.
Hmm.
But there's more of an overarching like theme than NCIS.
Ah, gotcha.
So it's very much the flavor mystery of the week instead of the crime. I mean, there's still a weekly crime.
Hmm.
So in Supernatural, it's like it starts off the episodes I've seen where somebody died, so some supernatural force, and then the 2 brothers magically show up to solve the crime, and send away the evil spirit or whatever. So
Okay.
it's definitely that episodic nature, but there's a little bit more of a theme than NCIS. So far what I've seen, if you like episodic kind of mysteries, yeah, it's a good show.
All right.
But I might have already enough episodic like crime shows in my life where I'm like, I don't know if I need to watch this too.
Right. Okay. Well, I don't know the exact name of the video, but the individual who you're looking for is a girl named Amy Dallen. It's Dallen. She basically does a video about where to start for comics.
Okay.
She's also basically she works at a comic book store. She gives recommendations through her Geek and Sundry channel. So
Excellent.
indeed,
I'll take a look at that.
good.
I mean, which is obviously a good thing, but there's just so much out there to.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, let's just turn around real quick and look at my shelf. I've got some really amazing graphic novels up there. I've got The Watchmen. I've got V for Vendetta. I've got Batman: The Killing Joke, which people say that the second, the Christian Bale movies, the one with Heath Ledger, is loosely based on The Killing Joke. I've got both Kick-Asses. I've got an amazing horror graphic novel series called Lock and Key. I've got the first 5. The 6th one is coming out in February, which I'm really happy but also sad about. But that's a phenomenal series. There's one up there called Blankets that's won a bunch of awards. I have not read it yet, but I've heard it's like awesome. Bones is not really a graphic novel. It's more just like a collection of comics. And then Dylan Dog is another graphic novel. And then, of course, on the other side of the shelf is all web comics, all the time.
I have The Watchmen. When that got really popular with the movie and all, it's like, okay, I guess I'll get The Watchmen.
Yep.
And then I also have Stephen King's The Tower. Or, right, The Dark Tower.
Right.
Book one by Marvel. So I know other ones are out since that one, but I have the Stephen King one.
Gotcha.
Which
I love me some Stephen King.
Have you've read The Dark Tower then?
No, I've only read The Gunslinger.
And he fled in black across.
It's funny that you bring up Stephen King because the Lock and Key series is written by an individual by the name of Joe Hill.
Okay.
Hold on, I want to Google him real quick. I'll tell you his full name. It's not just Joe Hill.
It's not. Are you sure of this?
Yes, I am very sure that it's not just Joe Hill. Joe Hill. There he is right there. Nope, not that one. That dude is like a gangster or something.
Oh, you don't want a gangster in your life?
That's not the Joe Hill I was looking for. This is the Joe Hill I'm looking for. Joe Hill. Joe Hill's full name is Joseph Hillstrom King. His father is Stephen. And he has a brain just like his dad when it comes to horror books. Oh shit! What was that one that I read? The Heart-Shaped Box is really good. Horns. They're actually making a movie out of Horns with Harry Potter. What the fuck is that guy's name in real life? Daniel Radcliffe is going to be the lead in Horns.
Huh.
He's done quite a few. He's written a lot of graphic novels. Of course, he didn't draw them, but he wrote them. He's got short stories. I mean, this dude is. I mean, I don't want to compare him to his dad. I don't think he'll ever have the level of success as his dad, but he's not.
Well, apparently, he has to become drunken and almost get hit by a car and put himself in a novel and have himself saved by his wife.
Fantastic.
Well, he's actually in the Dark Tower series, but it's kind of weird when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay.
Hmm.
Still well worth reading the series. I highly recommend it if you ever get around to it.
I will probably have to come back to it at some point. I'm reading so many books right now. It's not even funny. Well,
I mean,
so,
it's an investment of time for sure.
right, of course. Actually, I'm trying to cheat right now. While I'm working, I'm trying to listen to a book on tape, and so just for shits and giggles, because I already had this downloaded for Audible, I'm listening to Halo: The Fall of Reach. So,
Excellent.
but I do have. There is a book that Tabitha King, Stephen King's wife, hates. It's called I think it's called The Darker Half. It's about an author who writes about a fictional author who's like really twisted and demented, but slowly the author starts becoming the sick and twisted author. And so Tabitha King's like, son of a bitch, he's gonna do the same thing. he's gonna
Right.
he's gonna become his character.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
anywho. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the hour mark. Yes, I know. Zelia's sad. Um,
I didn't finish my beer yet. It can't be over. It's
I,
like an hourglass. You know, it's like an hourglass. As the sands of time slowly slip through our hands, so too are the days of our lives.
what the ever living shit are you quoting? Yeah.
I should know.
Zelius, I finished my beer.
Dude, you know I'm like the slowest alcohol drinker alive, okay?
You're the slowest alcohol drinker alive. I'm the slowest eater alive. We balance each
Well,
other out.
fair enough. We do. This is true.
Zelius will eat through a meal in like that, but then take forever for his beer. And then I'll take for fucking ever to get through my meal, but I'll drink my beer like that. So we end up at the exact same time,
Like,
just for
I eat my
different
meal. I'm
reasons.
like, dude, I'm like, Charlie, your food's cold. He's like, I know, but I finished my beer. What about you?
You're like, well, I took a sip.
It's like I took a chunk out of my steak. What's wrong, man?
No. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the Ultra Confusion Hangout. If you are in the Atlanta area, I recommend that you definitely take MARTA to get down to DragonCon. Traffic is going to be a berserk, simply because not only are we dealing with the amazingness of DragonCon, but you also have the fact that it is Labor Day weekend. And then you throw on the fact that the SEC Chick-fil-A, SEC ACC Chick-fil-A Kickoff Challenge is also happening on Saturday.
Who's playing in the game?
That would be Alabama against Virginia Tech.
Which I'm just saying, it really should be Georgia versus Clemson. I'm just saying. I know it's too late. This was probably set in motion like 5 years ago. But this year, number 5 Georgia versus number 8 Clemson. This really should be like the highlight. I'm just saying. That's all. I know Alabama.
Dude, it's going to be the highlight, but
I'm looking forward to it. I'm stoked. And I may cry. I may, break a few beer bottles off my head by the end of Saturday.
I unfortunately will be missing the majority of the football on Saturday simply because I've got to man the booth. But as soon as that's done, I'm going to shove all my stuff in the car, and then I'm hitting up any sports bar downtown to watch some games.
I imagine people at DragonCon, I know this is a stereotype of gamers, I'm pretty sure that you can still find out what's going on at DragonCon.
You're right. I mean, I've got my cell phone on, but I want to actually watch it. Well, then again, I could do ESPN. What the fuck is it called?
Mobile?
Yeah,
phone.
ESPN Mobile. Or ESPN, whatever the TV app is. So I could just run it through my phone if I really wanted to. Okay, nice. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Thank you very much. We are going to be back next week, same time, same channel, to bring you the latest and greatest in what's going on in the industry, what might be piquing our interest in the industry, be it games, uh, movies, consoles, whatever,
Books.
books, um, or maybe even board games. But until then, thank you for tuning in. For myself, Charlie, and Zelius, y'all have a good night.
And remember, kids, keep on gaming in the free world.
Amen to that, brother.